Hey guys, Chaz, Black Horse Motorworks. Video for you. Today we're going to be talking about the Ferrari 360 you see behind me. This is most 360s as well as some 430s. This is about the catalyst built into the headers. This is a very common failure on these cars, and left unresolved can lead to catastrophic engine failure. I want to explain it a little bit. I don't want to scare anyone, but I like people to have all the knowledge about what's going on and kind of explain exactly what the issue with these are. For the cars to meet emission standards here in the U.S., they had to have a certain amount of catalyst material. The exhaust had to be filtered, essentially through a catalyst, a certain amount, to meet all of our requirements. Well, in order to get enough catalyst material in the exhaust stream, not only do the cars have cats, but they also have a smaller catalytic converter core built into the header. This is the problem. It's very close to the cylinders. It's actually built directly into the collector, right where all four pipes from each bank collect. Under normal circumstances, these hold up pretty well. The issue is if the car ever has any type of condition that causes it to run rich, a bad O2 sensor, a fueling issue, a fouled spark plug, a bad coil pack, anything like that, anything that's going to abuse the catalyst material that's in the header, it can cause the catalyst to start to break down. Several different things occur, but most often the face of the catalyst where the exhaust contacts it immediately, it will start to get overheated or clogged with fuel, things like that. That'll cause the catalyst to collapse. So you have to think about it like a mesh screen, kind of. More like a honeycomb is actually a better description. And what will happen is those little teeny tiny holes, little tubes that go through the catalyst, will start to collapse and close. And when it does that, it restricts the flow, which forces more of the exhaust gas to go through the remaining open holes in the catalyst, and eventually causes the entire thing to pretty much disintegrate on the front side. It'll melt down. Now, this is a ceramic-based catalyst. It's made with platinum and other things. You can read about that. But it will eventually shatter almost like glass. Now, this is where the big problem comes in. Number one, if it doesn't collapse and clog completely and restrict the flow of exhaust from your bank, causing overheating, it can actually cause the exhaust to catch on fire. The other very dangerous part is the catalyst will break down into small parts, crumbles like glass, and you risk at engine shutdown, there's a brief moment of vacuum as the engine's still rolling over but not running, and it risks sucking some of that catalyst material into an exhaust port. When it does that, it'll make it into the cylinder. There's no immediate telltale for that. What will happen is you'll start the car back up, drive like you normally will, and often this material will fall down around the edge of the piston, right where the piston ring is, and then just ride up and down. It does two things. It'll destroy the ring, it'll destroy the piston, and worst of all, it'll gouge the sidewall in the cylinder. So you're going from a bad header to pretty much a blown engine. You can have all kinds of problems. Now, that gouge will, of course, cause lots of problems. It'll cause oil to get in the cylinder and burn it. It'll also cause you to lose compression in that cylinder because the compression gas will make it on the bottom. And there's tons of problems I can go on for this, all kinds of things that this can occur. But anyway, it's a very bad problem to have. Now, the go-to solution in the United States has been to put aftermarket headers on the car. You get some performance out of it. It looks a lot better. And it also eliminates this issue, which is a big deal. Most often, people have been using fab speed headers, but you have other options as well, including Capristo. This car in particular is going to be getting the fab speed headers. They're not here yet, so unfortunately I can't show them to you. They'll be here on Monday. I'll possibly make another video side-by-side comparison just to give you a better idea, or at least some photos. But I wanted to show you a factory catalyst and exactly what I'm talking about. Let me spin the camera around here. Alright, so right here, I have already removed the factory headers from the car. Let me pan up this way. You can see there's quite a bit of room now that it's removed, but that's the factory exhaust ports. The gaskets are still hanging here, and I've got both banks removed. This is quite a pain in the butt job, especially if anybody here's ever done it or ever had to even just tighten some of these fasteners. The bottom row is not the worst. It takes a little bit of work to get to some of the front fasteners, but it's not the end of the world. It's the top fasteners that come across the top of the header that are a nightmare. And they're not impossible. It's just a lot of work and it's a pain in the butt. And the reason being is the recirculation pipes here. Let me pan the camera down a little bit so you can see. But it's these pipes here. So what's happening is you have the head of the engine like this, and that leaves you, as you can see, very little room. All of this is blocked off. So you're having to go in between here with these pretty tight exhaust fasteners and get them all loose. Again, it's the towards the rear, they're not as bad. There's still a lot of work to reach them, but the front ones are a giant pain in the butt. All in all, it's several hours of work to change these out. Now, back to the question of mine. These are the factory headers, left and right banks. Now, if you look down in here, you can see that honeycomb I was talking about. It appears in good shape, but we're also looking at the backside of it, so that's fairly normal. If this looks bad, then you have an extremely catastrophic failure. Here's the other bank, just for reference. So the issue occurs on the front side of that catalyst, and I don't think you'll be able to see it through here very well, not with this camera. Let me scoot this up a little bit, see what we can do here. Probably nothing. I tried. Anyway, you can take the O2 bung out, and you can barely see the face of the catalyst. That's a way to inspect them. Kind of. You don't get a very clear view, so if there's a portion of it that's damaged, you may not see it, and then may decide not to repair it, and then you'll run into further issues. You can actually, I guess, see through this test port here. Sorry, I'd like to give you a view of this. No, you can't. Anyway, but that's the issue. So all four of these pipes, you can see they wrap around. They're fairly equal length, and then they run down here, and they collect about right here. It's a pretty tight woven little package. Right here where they collect, it goes straight into this little mini catalyst that's built in from about this point right here to the end, and then that's where it connects to the actual full-size cat in the car. Anyway, so this is a very common failure. That's what you see down there. That's what fails. It's not typically its fault. It's typically because of a resulting overfueling issue for whatever reason, a bad coil pack, a fouled spark plug, a stuck injector. All sorts of issues can cause this, but as soon as this is contaminated, it generally starts to fail. When it does fail, it's just a chain effect. So that's why we highly encourage people to replace these, get them taken care of. It does get pretty tricky if you're in an emissions testing state because you are removing catalyst material by putting a race header on it. There's a few options as far as that goes, but do something about it before it's a major problem. Or at least every year when you have your annual service done, have the O2 sensor pulled out, stick a borescope in there, get some idea of what's going on, but it can be a ticking time bomb. Anyway, it's Chaz, Black Horse Motorworks. Hopefully this video kind of clarified. I know a lot of people have heard about it. We've talked to a lot of customers about it, but there's not always a visual representation. So hopefully this will kind of give you an idea of exactly what I'm talking about. And if you've got any other questions, Vince is due for a video, so if you've got an idea for him, anything we can make, describe, explain, or show you, just let us know. Comment below, message us on Facebook, email us, call us, whatever you want to do. Thanks for watching.